Okay, so when you think of Russia, what's the first word that pops into your head? For most people, it's got to be vast. But what does that really mean? In this explainer, we're going to peel back the layers on the incredible scale of Russia, from its jaw-dropping geography to its resource-heavy economy. Let's get into it. All right, let's start with the raw number. We're talking over 17 million square kilometers. It's a number so big, it's kind of hard to even wrap your head around. I mean, to put that into perspective, that's almost double the size of the entire United States. It's a landmass that doesn't just define the country, it fundamentally shapes global geography. And this, right here, this really drives that point home. Look at this comparison. Russia isn't just a little bit bigger than other huge countries like Canada or the US. No, it's in a completely different league. You could basically swallow Canada and the USA whole inside Russia's borders and probably still have some room left over. So, what does that size actually mean in the real world? Well, check this out. It's so wide that it covers 11 different time zones. That means when people in Kaliningrad, way over on the Baltic Sea, are sitting down to dinner, folks on the other side of the country, on the Kamchatka Peninsula, are probably just waking up and getting their coffee ready for a brand new day. It's a country stretched across both Europe and Asia where day and night are happening at the same time. But Russia's scale isn't just about how wide it is, it's also about its incredible diversity. The geography here is just as extreme as its size. Think about it like this. If you were to take a trip from the very top to the bottom, you'd start in the freezing, barren tundra. Then you'd move into the taiga, which is literally the largest forest on planet Earth. Keep going south and you hit the steppes, these endless grassy plains. And finally, you'd reach the more arid regions and the Ural Mountains, that famous range that separates Europe from Asia. Okay, so there's this one geological feature that completely defines a huge part of this landscape, especially out in Siberia. It's called permafrost. And this isn't just ground that freezes in the winter. No, we're talking about a thick layer of soil, rock, and ice that is frozen solid all year round, sometimes for hundreds of feet down. And get this, 65%. That's how much of Russia is covered in permafrost. That means almost 2/3 of the entire country is sitting on top of a giant, permanently frozen foundation. I mean, think about the challenges of trying to build cities, roads, or pipelines on that. It changes everything. And all of this leads to one of the most insane climates on the planet. Out in Siberia, it's not unusual for winter temperatures to drop below -50 degrees Celsius. But then in the summer, it can shoot up past 26 degrees. We're talking a temperature swing of nearly 80 degrees Celsius. That's like going from a deep freezer to a hot summer day. It's just wild. You'd think a place this harsh and frozen would be empty, right? Well, it's holding a massive secret. Because beneath all that ice and snow lies one of the world's greatest treasure troves of natural resources. And the list of what's down there? It's absolutely mind-boggling. Yeah, we all hear about the oil and gas, but it's so much more than that. We're talking massive timber forests, gigantic coal deposits, and tons of critical metals like nickel, copper, and gold. Russia isn't just a country, it's a geological superpower. Now, this chart really puts that power into perspective. Look at this. #1 in the world for natural gas reserves, #2 for coal, and a top 10 player in oil. When it comes to the stuff that powers our world, Russia is an absolute titan. So, all this incredible wealth isn't just sitting there in the ground, right? It is the absolute engine of Russia's modern economy. Let's dig into how that works. Wow. Yeah, this chart pretty much says it all. Half, 50% of all of Russia's exports are energy products. It's not just a part of the economy. For much of the world, it is the Russian economy. You know, there's a great quote that really sums this up perfectly. The way we instinctively think of Saudi Arabia for oil, that's how the world thinks about Russia for natural gas. It's a perfect analogy for its role on the global stage. And here's the kicker. That control is unbelievably concentrated. Just one company, the state-controlled giant Gazprom, manages a whopping 90% of Russia's oil and gas exports. So you have one entity, controlled by the state, that basically holds the keys to the country's most valuable asset. That is an immense amount of power. And if you want to know just how crucial this one company is, look at this number. A full quarter of the entire Russian government's budget comes from Gazprom's activities. It's way more than just a company. It's a fundamental pillar of the Russian state itself. Okay, so we've talked about the insane scale of the land and the massive economy it fuels. But what about the people who live across this enormous territory? Because Russia isn't just one monolithic group, it's more like a nation made up of many, many nations. So get this. Inside the Russian Federation, there are 22 distinct internal republics. And these aren't just lines on a map. They represent totally unique ethnic and cultural groups, each with its own history and its own identity. And, being a republic here isn't just a title. It means they have a real degree of autonomy, the right to have their own official language alongside Russian, and the power to preserve their own unique culture. It's a true patchwork of different peoples, all under one flag. And this really gets to the heart of the official idea here: unity in diversity. The goal, at least on paper, is to build a single, unified Russian identity that still makes room for this incredible patchwork of cultures spread all the way across those 11 time zones. So, there you have it, a land of giants, giant in its size, its resources, and its diversity. But it leaves us with this huge critical question, right? For a nation whose entire modern identity and economy is built on selling these resources, what on earth does the future look like in a world that is desperately trying to move away from them? And that right there might be the single greatest challenge facing this giant of a nation.